Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert, and we are so lucky to have been invited out to Denmark to meet with the guys from Dynaudio, who have a brand new range of speakers coming out at this Messe this year. Now, you're watching this in time for Messe. In fact, they went live this morning, which is how you can now see this video. Very lucky that we've been able to join Sebastian here at the Dynaudio headquarters in Denmark to talk about all things Dynaudio. Sebastian, thanks ever so much for taking out the time.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
We were just in the neighbourhood, you know.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So before we move on to the new stuff, onto the new LYD range, tell us a little bit about the backstory, a bit about the history of Dynaudio, because obviously you guys have been on this site for, well, the big news is that next year Dynaudio and I share a birthday. We are both 40 next year.
That's, yeah, then congratulations already for next year. But yeah, we're here, really, this is the place where Dynaudio has been founded. And you can even see that from the outside. So there's kind of the original building, which really looks like an old garage. And then there's bits and pieces from different areas built in the front of it and in the back of it. So the last bit is actually the one that we're in here. It's the new offices. Behind it is the old kind of garage, you could say, where the company has been founded in. Behind that is the factory. And at the moment, we're again building a new research and development facility. So kind of this building moved with the company through the years, and it's always been here.
So as Pro Tools Expert and as Pro Tools users and as studio guys, we think of Dynaudio as studio monitors and professional sort of high-end studio stuff. But that's actually quite a small chunk of what you guys do, isn't it?
It is a part of, at the moment, we kind of have three segments where we do drivers and loudspeakers for. One is definitely the Pro area. We've been in Pro for quite a while. The company started as a high-end hi-fi company. That's kind of how the company has been founded. So we're doing high-end hi-fi speakers for a long time. We're still doing them. We're very successful with it. And a few years ago, we moved into automotive as well. First with Volvo and now with Volkswagen. And we are supplying Volkswagen with drivers and sound system. We do the tuning of the sound system here for Volkswagen here. For different cars, Passat, Golf, and also Phaeton. Sometimes as an upgrade, sometimes as a standard, for example, at the Phaeton. So we do all this here as well.
And I was very excited to discover that if there are any Bugatti Veyron drivers out there watching, that they've actually got Dynaudio speakers in the Veyron.
Yeah, that's true. That's also, there is a standard, obviously. It's an expensive car already.
That's a pretty good kind of a good benchmark to go with, isn't it? So in the studio world, most of us have heard of the legendary BM range of speakers, but you guys have taken that a whole another level further, haven't you, with this new LYD range of speakers?
Yes, that is our new range, LYD. We have three speakers in that range, a 5, a 7, and an 8-inch, so no surprises there. And it replaces the current, what is the BM Mark III range, so the kind of third iteration of what the BM range is. And we just felt that we have kind of reached the ceiling with what the BM can do. And in the last years, we've developed a lot of new platforms in different areas. We've done a lot of research on kind of Class D amplification, for example, but also kind of developed and improved our drivers again and again. So for us, it was time to just make kind of a new speaker, a new monitor, give it a new name, kind of create a new lineup for it, and that's LYD.
Now, a lot of people are going to look at the actual drivers themselves and go, hang on, aren't they the same drivers and the same tweeters as we've seen in Dynaudio speakers and monitors for years?
It's funny, yes, because they always look the same, right? I mean, we always use soft dome tweeters. We always use the kind of MSP cones in the drivers. We use similar sized voice coils for similar sized speakers. So from the outside, the driver always looks the same, but inside it's always different. So we vary a lot of parts inside the driver, sometimes also on the outside. For example, with the LYD8, we did that. So we were able to create a woofer that has much more excursion than our 8-inch woofer before. So we always improve. We always try to make everything we have just a bit better, building on what we already believe is the best. We really believe in the MSP material. It gives us the best kind of dampening factor to stiffness, and just is a very good material for building a woofer.
Now, one of the first studios I ever worked in, we had Dynaudio. I think they now come under the Classics range, and they were just beautiful. It's a smooth sound. It's not very unfatiguing. Is that a real word? It's a very easy sound to work with for a very long period of time. And that's presumably what you've tried to keep. You've tried to keep that company ethos with the new LYD range.
Yes, it's a very important part of what we feel about is for studio monitors, and it comes to the kind of different levels of the monitor. And one very important is a consistent frequency response. So no matter what level you're working in, you get the same frequency response. And that's often what studio engineers look for. They actually listen at very low volumes. So they want a very good frequency response there. They don't want to turn the speaker up to actually get to the point where the speaker sounds good. And that's always what we strive for. That's also what we strive for with the new series.
Now, a lot of us guys, although we claim to be techno super freaks and all that sort of stuff, a lot of certainly my ethos as an engineer is keep it simple. I want to take something out of the box, put it on my stand or on my meter bridge or whatever, and it just sound great. I don't want to have to get in and have to learn a whole new batch of settings and things on the back of a speaker. Certainly my current monitors, which aren't Dynaudio, I've tried to keep it simple. But the new LYDs have got some really cool features on the back to actually get the very best out of your listening environment. Is that right?
Yes, and it's actually goes in the same direction that you just commented on. It's we really looked at features that studio monitors normally had and the BM range had, and really thought about, is that useful? Do people use it? Do people understand why it's there? And kind of then considered everything and just wanted to have features that people want to use and people understand. And we have some interesting things there. One is a wall setting. That's the easiest one. So if you have the speakers close to a wall, it will introduce some filters to take care of low frequency anomalies. We have get rid of any shelf EQs or any EQs on the back, traditional EQs, because they always create phase problems. That's the last thing you want to. That's why a lot of people just don't use them on their speakers. So we have a tilt filter that is used a lot in mastering, that tilts the whole frequency response in one or the other direction. So you can kind of, we call it a bright and a dark frequency response. And we also have a bass extension that you can actually decide the cutoff of the kind of the bass cutoff of the speaker, which also influences the maximum SPL. So if you want to have it play really loud, you can cut it off very early and then it plays really loud. Or if you want kind of to have it play really deep, you can go down 20 hertz actually in steps by 10, and then you can have it play really deep but not as loud.
So one of the things that we mentioned there, obviously, was frequency response and frequency contour across a number of different volume levels. But the thing that came up there was phase. Now, phase, obviously, people think about as plus and minus, or they maybe think about it as phase invert or phase switching on a console. Can you just elaborate a little bit on the importance of phase when it comes to monitoring and the effect that having correct phase across a frequency response can have?
I mean, the interesting thing is what people don't think about when they have the speaker is you actually have a lot of sound sources, right? Because the sound is not emitting from a single sound source, you know. Actually, the perfect balance, the perfect phase you get if you have mono through a single driver. But you actually, think about a two-way speaker, which the LYD series is. So you have a tweeter and a woofer, and then you have a stereo pair tweeter and the woofer. And to have the perfect sound at the listening position, everything has to be in phase at the listening position. And for example, a shelf EQ can introduce problems there where it shifts the phase of the signal, and then you have a slightly off phase at the listening position. Everybody, I think, that works in sound knows what a phasing effect sounds like. You actually get cancellation of frequencies, or you get too much of one frequency, one or the other. So this is what you really want to avoid. And that's also important for us, is because obviously we tune the speaker here, and we want that what we then feel that this is how they should sound. This is how they should sound at the customer as well. But if we introduce any features that actually could mess that up, then we don't know what happens at the customer side.
So the new range, they look beautiful. I actually really like the fact you've gone away from the kind of esoteric black or grey box that sits on a stand or on top of a meter bridge. I love the white with the black drivers. I think that looks amazing.
It is something I actually think black and white is a very typical color scheme for a studio monitor. Just leave it there. So
you've gone negative, should we say?
Yeah, we've gone negative. Yeah, and it is something that a very good friend of mine is a very good engineer producing a lot of pop music in Germany, and he once had a comment on it to me. Is like, I don't understand this. I have to look at these things for 10 hours a day. And it's just, they're all so ugly. And you said that generally about studio monitors. And I always had that in my head when we started the project. It's just like, yeah, they don't have to. They really don't have to.
Cool. So there are 3 in the range.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, without getting too far down the whole, the evils of cash, but what's the difference between the 3 in the range and the pricing?
No problem. So we have a 5-inch, a 7-inch, and an 8-inch woofer model. They all have the same tweeter. So we really wanted to create a family that you can also mix them together for surround sets. So have the big ones in the front, smaller ones in the back, or how you want to handle it. In price, they're $499, $599, and $699. They all have
that's euros.
Euros.
Yeah.
And they all have the same features. The 2 smaller models have also the same amplifiers in. The bigger one has a slightly more powerful amplifier because of the bigger woofer. So
I personally don't think that power really matters. Obviously, everyone goes on about, but what's the power amp in it? Who cares if it sounds good? But power amp wise, what's in there?
We have a Class D amplifier in. We use a DSP for sound processing and have a 96 kilohertz 24-bit single pass. In the 2 smaller models, we have a 2 times 50 watt amplifier, and in the bigger model, we have a 50 watt 80 watt amplifier.
So say you were putting these brand new range of lovely speakers into a facility for yourself, for example, just putting yourself in the producer's chair for a moment. What would be the factors that would make you think, do you know, I either want the smaller one or maybe the middle-sized one or the bigger one? What would be the things that you'd be thinking about considering?
First, really the size that I have actually to put the speaker. Our 5-inch is a really very small, very compact speaker. So if I don't have a lot of space, I can't put them really far away. That would be my choice. And then really going by the possibilities I have up the range. Obviously also bass response is a factor. So the bigger the speaker gets, the deeper it can play. In total, that's of course also a factor. Also sound pressure level. So the maximum sound pressure level is different on all 3s. Going kind of up the range, you get more maximum sound pressure level. And again, if I can have the possibility to put the speakers a little bit further away and just have the space for it, of course, then it totally makes sense to go for the 8.
So you will be seeing them here first. Obviously, a speaker review is always very difficult to get across on a video, but you'll be seeing them here on Product Expert very, very soon. You'll probably also be seeing me later on in the week at the Music Messe in Frankfurt, because we are there right now as you're watching this. So somehow by the magic of TV, we've managed to do that. But thanks ever so much for joining us, or for me being allowed to join you. I've been James from Product Expert. We'll see you again soon for some more Gear Talk.